Do you want to learn how to tune electronic fuel injection live in person with the guys from RealTuners? We have 2-day courses in dyno shops all across the country. You can register for these at RealTuners.com and click on RealTuners Live Classes. For more information or to make a reservation, go to RealTuners.com or message us on Facebook at RealTuners LLC. Now, about those classes. When are they, you might ask? July 13th and 14th, an advanced standalone tuning class covering various ECUs at full throttle speed in Detroit, Michigan. And of course, we will be trying to schedule more classes and more dates throughout the year, so keep checking back for more info.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RealTuners Radio, episode 93. Tonight's show is special. We're coming to you live from Ozark Mountain Country at 417 Motorsports in Springfield, Missouri. Our guest tonight, as promised, is none other than Homewrecker Motorsports' own Jamond Haug. Perhaps you know him as the wheelman behind two infamous and imposing no-prep cars, the Good Far and the Frig. I personally witnessed this past weekend what I'm calling the best drag race I've ever watched in person, where Jamond managed a tricky track at the recent no-prep race at Ozark Raceway Park, putting superstar Larry Larson on the trailer in their first round. I don't think I've witnessed a better tuned pass in my 20-plus years of watching and tuning drag cars. This was an awesome race, and we are fortunate to have Jamond here with us tonight.
And as usual, we have our normal panel of hosts. Bill Fowler of Big Hat Racing. Brian Barnhill of TunerTools.com. John Bewley of Little John's Motorsports Solutions. Mark Dalquist of Throttles Performance. Scott Evans of Helix Tuning. Tom Sewell of Fuel Injector Development. Blake Hughes of 417 Motorsports. Scott Clark of RealTuners.com. And possibly a few of our previous guest hosts will pop their heads in and chat as well. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Now let's get this show on the road. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of RealTuners. Happy 4th of July, happy 3rd Eve, 4th Eve, whatever you want to call it tonight. We are going to have a lot of fun tonight. Without further ado, I'm just going to bring everybody in and get this party started.
What's going on, everybody? Can you hear me okay? Looks like it.
Yep.
Check 1, 2. All right, man. So different stuff tonight. We are live at 417 Motorsports, no doubt. Blake Hughes is letting us use the shop. I was working down here this week, hung out to check out the no prep race they had at Ozark Raceway Park last weekend, and ended up staying here to wire on some cars and get some stuff tuned up. But very fortunate. I know some of you saw my Facebook posts. Well, I mean, I'll just dive into it. So fortunate to have some guys that put on one of the seriously one of the best passes I've seen in a long time, if not the best. At the snow prep race that I watched, these guys actually had drew Larry Larson first round and promptly put the gap on him in the first 200 feet and put him on the trailer, which says a lot. I know they've run up against him before in other events, and it's been back and forth, but I was just really impressed with how this car worked, considering the situation. It's a big, dumb, blown alcohol motor that you wouldn't think is going to work for these combos.
Not the best.
These type of events, and it was amazing. So anyway, long story short, guest tonight, Jamond Haug and his brother Todd are here with us, and we also got Blake Hughes in tonight. So greetings. Bill, you want to start off, man? You're good at the intro interview. Why don't you ask these guys some of the basics? We'll get the background on them.
Yeah, so Jamond and Todd and everybody else, as you know, we'll dive in whether you like it or not. You guys have made a big splash over the last, going back a couple of years when you brought the Studebaker out to some of the televised Outlaws events, no prep events, and people always look at that, even though you've run multiple cars at these events, and say, well, who are these guys? Where did they come from? So the first thing we always like to do on this is let you guys, in your own words, tell your story. Who are you guys? Where do you come from? How do you come to the point where you can suddenly put basically everybody at an event on the trailer, more or less the first time out with the Studebaker? So let us know a little bit about where you come from, where you've been, who you've worked with, and what you're doing these days.
And go way back and take your time. How'd you get started in just drag racing in general?
I got started in, I think I was 14 or 15 years old. My dad took me to an NHRA race. Our neighbor company he worked for sponsored a top alcohol dragster, the company Beef America, and it was a twin engine top alcohol dragster. It had two 620 nitrous motors in it. So we started off with oddball stuff back then. Dad took me to a race in Topeka, and I hung out with the Hartley family. They owned the car, and then Joe Hartley was the son, and he was my age, and we hit it off. And a couple weeks later, we went out to Denver and met him out there, and I worked on the car. And then pretty much Dad went home alone, and I jumped in the cab over truck and went on tour.
Nice. And what year was that roughly?
Dude, that would have been probably in 89 or 90.
Gotcha. Okay.
80,
so you
80,
ran
80,
away and joined the circus.
Ran away from home, yeah.
Circus.
And it was a circus, yeah. So we started that and then ran the twin engine car for a while, wrecked it in Dallas, and then built a new car and then hooked up a Tom Conway. Tom Conway got us an A fuel motor. So we went and injected nitro, did that for a few years, and then figured if we're buying nitromethane and got a Hemi, might as well get a blower and go top fuel racing. So then we went top fuel racing. Did that full-time for a while, and then I'd worked with Mike Klober on that car a little bit, and then he asked me to come over to Clay Milliken's startup team and train a new bottom end guy and get those guys going. And I liked everybody, so I stayed. So I stayed with Clay for 7 years.
Gotcha. And was that through his our string of our IHRA championships?
Yes. The first year on the car, it was the emula.com car. And I think we didn't qualify the first two races and ended the season 6 or 7 points out of first. And then the next year, Warner came on as a sponsor, and
thus began a long chain of kicking ass.
The gloves were off at that point.
Yeah, right. That was awesome. I've been to the Warner facility where all the dragsters are hanging from the ceiling and stuff. A lot of history there. That's badass. That's up by us in Omaha. Very cool. Okay, so a lot of pro level experience. What? How did you transition into the no prep thing then? When did that?
Well, when I was in grade school, my brother street raced with his car.
Okay.
And I'd tag along when I could and sneak out when I could. And then when I got into high school, I got a 68 Camaro. Then I followed in the footsteps, and here we are.
Gotcha. And you also did a lot of was it Outlaw 8.5 or Outlaw 10.5? Did you guys?
The very early days of the Outlaw 10.5.
Gotcha.
Was when the cars were actually back half cars, not chassis cars.
Right.
So we did that. Had a 632-inch nitrous deal back then, and then I started working for Scott Palmer off and on his car, and he talked me into putting a blower on the 632. And
gotcha.
And the first weekend it went faster.
So that's probably where the power management knowledge background kind of came in, I'm guessing, understanding of that.
Yeah, back then it was very, very rough.
I guess. I get that, but at the same time, you had to learn how to do it.
Oh, yeah.
You had to learn that, hey, there's too much. It's easy to make more power than you can put down.
Yeah.
You guys are always showing up with a big stick every time I've seen you come out. So,
we hide power everywhere we can.
Right. You're right. So, all right. Interesting. So, did you see the no prep stuff that was going on? I'm sure the whole street outlaws thing. For those of us that work in this industry, that kind of, that's what allowed me to quit my IT job, was the growth in drag racing, the interest in drag racing, and people building project cars at all budget levels. So did you see that stuff? And did it make you say, hey, I can go do that? I understand what needs to be done here. Or how did you?
It was an easy fit because it was something that we had already done.
Yeah.
We had street raced, and, we didn't forget how to do it.
Sure.
At the time I'd sold my Pro Mod, and we were working on the Impala, and it wasn't finished. And I was tuning Brent Deputy's car. And then we got a call from Street Outlaws to come up to Kansas City and race those guys.
Right. How did that go? Did you put the hurting on some of them guys there?
We got one race. We raced Chuck and It was
Yep.
pretty ugly.
Buses.
they didn't
all the way in.
They see the big blower and they don't think it's going to go down the track.
No, yeah. That's probably the hallmark is getting people to make a mistake in their estimate of what you're going to be able to do or not, right? I mean, that's part of the card game. Got it. Oh, the street racing background makes me understand that a lot. I wasn't aware of that background, but that makes sense. So that's all.
Back in the day, in the early days in Omaha, it was, Jim Foltenauer and Mike Wergler.
Yeah.
Those guys were the OG guys that you always tried to beat. And
Right. No, I know Foldenauer. That's great. That's hilarious. Hayabusa.
You guys really put kind of a mark on things when you ran 2 cars at one event. How did that end up happening?
Yeah.
Well, we're planning on going anyway, and I just got my Camaro back, and I was itching to drive it, and the producers called and wanted to know if I knew anybody else that wanted to go, and I told them that I didn't know anybody that was dumb enough to drive to North Carolina.
Right.
Said, but we're bringing a stacker, and I can bring 2 cars. If I can drive both of them, then I'll bring 2. And they said, yeah, bring them. So
what event was that for? One of the No Prep
Yeah,
games?
No Prep King
Gotcha.
season 1. Yeah.
Okay. How did that go?
The Impala went around, and the Camaro, street car.
No business.
Yeah, right.
It was outgunned.
Gotcha. Okay.
Nevertheless, made a hell of an impression by being able to run that well, jump out of one car, getting in the other.
Mm-hmm.
I think the directors did a decent job of kind of showing that. You didn't win all the rounds, but it certainly put you guys on the map and set you up for the Studebaker. So how did the Studebaker come around?
Yeah, what's the story behind that whole car? Start at the top.
The Studebaker, a guy named Steve Huntley owned it, and I was selling out of my Pro Mod car, and I sold him the motor and transmission and put it in the Studebaker for him, and then he went and ran it and did pretty well with it. We were getting a little mad because the Impala is so heavy. The only reason we built it as a fun car, and then everybody kind of bagged on us, and I was like, all right, well, we can build something that doesn't weigh 4,200 pounds and be competitive.
Yeah.
And we knew Steve was selling out the motor of the car. So originally we went to go buy the motor and transmission back because we had 300 or 400 hits on it and knew it really well, but wound up buying the whole car.
Gotcha. What, any big changes in that chassis for the stuff you're doing now? I mean, is there any, I guess, are you racing anywhere else? Or does you leave it basically in the trim that it's in right now for the No Prep event?
It's a No Prep street car.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All we do is No Prep.
Gotcha. So you don't screw around with trying to take that to prep events?
No.
Yeah. Not because there's a huge ton of changes or differen's, I'm guessing.
Massive amount of changes. Yeah.
Interesting. Can you discuss
how many events? How many events is that right now? If you look backwards at what you've been doing over the last year, how many events is that, and how far across the country do you have to go to run them?
We've been to Edinburgh, Texas, San Antonio, South Carolina. That's about as far as we're willing to go. It's about as far as we can afford to go. Yeah. To change that car to go to a prep track would require a gear change, a transmission gear change, a converter change, shock, 4-link, and weight.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so easy peasy. Sorry.
Yeah, right. No, to make it sound so serious. My God, the rest of the world struggles so hard at this same thing.
Yeah, they might outspend us, but they're not going to outwork us.
Right. There you go. And that's the common theme. You guys catch that? That's pretty awesome. So interesting. What talk about the power plant choices a little bit? I mean, I kind of can see it historically what you have that experience with. But I mean, how do you dumb down a 3,000 plus horsepower blower motor? I got a rough idea of what kind of powered flywheel it takes over the course of the pass and something like that. So,
yeah, I mean, we're stuck on the 540 inch deal because we can get a block from a top fuel team and bore out the sleeves and go 4.375, and we can get used half-inch stroke cranks all day long.
Affordable supply parts.
Yeah.
Smart move.
What we can afford.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, alcohol is the fuel of choice, I guess, for the No Prep
M1,
stuff.
yeah.
M1.
Yep.
You ever done any comparison with like M5 and any other fuel stuff like that? I've
can't.
done fuel tests and couldn't find shit for a difference except price. So
price and damage.
yeah, right. Interesting. Okay, but do you have experience with nitromethane?
Yep.
Yeah. So
on that.
the look that I just got right there. Yeah, and that's all we're gonna say. Shut up. That's interesting. Now, all right. So I guess that explains the power plant choice. What about power management? I mean, we talked a little bit before the show, but I mean, pretty basic, like the fuel guys are doing, right? A grid box.
Yep.
Okay.
A grid box and a couple fuel timers and.
So you are playing with the mixture a little bit to dumb down power then.
Oh yeah. Fuel's the big hammer and timing's the little hammer.
Got it. Okay, so a bigger change in fuel for power.
Yeah,
you're getting all the love. Everybody likes hearing that now. So, okay, so all right, so fuel timers, and those are like some kind of on-off pressure bleeds that runs off like a Digiset timer or something that's
going way back there.
Yeah, well, we have manual, just spring checks that just work off of pressure.
Oh, okay.
With the jet.
Okay. That's the RPM.
Those are
raise
really
the pressure up, and then triggers. Okay, relief.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we have 5 stages on a leash controller that we can go in and out, up and down, anything we want to do.
Just for the fuel.
Just fuel, yeah.
Wow.
So you're able to manage all 5 stages on that. I asked, we had Jack Beckman on a month or so ago, and he was talking about what they can do and not do in the black box on the fuel funny cars. So you actually have a little more control over fuel electronically than those cars do?
Like on those guys, a lot of those guys will use a BDK valve or an all-in-one valve, and that just is a big slide valve.
It's a big variable or variable adjustment.
They can go in and out and go up and down and
trombone valve.
Yeah. We're just bleeding fuel and adding fuel is all we're doing. We're basically working in steps, not really it's not a gradual curve or a linear curve. It's just
A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, it's on like stages of nitrous or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And then inside the car, I have control. On my right hand, I have a bleed valve on my hand I can use, and I do have a button I can hit for. We call them an FU and an F us.
Right,
button.
right.
The F us button takes 10 degrees out, and FU button bleeds about half a gallon away.
Gotcha. And that's your version of scramble then? Or
I have to have something.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. Wow. That's pretty badass.
Now, when you said the leash box, are you talking like a leash nitrous controller?
No, it's just it could be, I guess.
And just using the timers to
turn things on and off.
Open cylinder.
Yeah. They're probably just a 4-stage timer box that Randy makes.
Right.
Yeah. RBS Supercharger sells it as a kit. And that's where we got it. I mean, Randy's helped us out a ton.
Yeah.
But RBS sells it as a kit. You get the valves, and it's very little draw. I mean, it's the new style, and they flow a lot. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. They use that, Mickey has a 4-stage transmission dump with 4 solenoids on it, and he uses that same 4-stage timer box.
Gotcha.
On his transmission deal. It's one of his more popular timers.
So, Jamond, when did you transition from doing crew, and you mentioned, doing bottom end and training a guy to do bottom end and all that on Clay's car? You were on street racing. You mentioned that. You were doing some other stuff. So was there a gradual transition into driving, or you just jump in head first?
No, I always drove my own stuff. I mean, I always had a car at home and really good friends in Omaha that would look after it for me when I was on the road and occasionally take it out when I wasn't there. But no, there wasn't a conscious decision. When I worked for Al Hartley, he had a fuel funny car there for a while. And I came within 30 minutes of being able to jump in and make a hit on a test session because our driver was coming out of New York and he was snowed in. But he made it at the last minute, which is very discouraging.
That sucks.
Worst day of my life.
Right. Got a bunch of fast Studebaker fans on here. Toby Vitito says, I heard we might see the Frig on the street here soon.
We'll make it go.
Yeah, we'll make it. I'm not worried about that. So one of the things, and I was corrected, it's not German, it's Norwegian. And I don't want to get my ass kicked here, but I'm just curious about how you guys come up with the names for your cars, because there's always seems to be a little bit You know, like the good father. Explain. That's a godfather, right?
Yeah, it's Norwegian for godfather.
Yeah.
I'm my brother's kid's godfather, and he's my kid's godfather. And actually, my wife came up with the idea. She's
That's
like,
awesome.
that'd be a badass name.
That is a badass name.
It's like, well, you know, Barry's got the Godfathers. We can't call it the Godfather, but we can call it Goodfather.
Yeah.
So we got to,
which is even
with
cool.
that.
Yeah, a little bit. There's some thought that goes into it.
Technically, to Barry, I think we named Goodfar before he was on TV.
That's true. Well,
Gotcha.
Oh, so he copied you guys. Okay. That's cool.
So, all right. Then the Frig. How did that one come up with? Who came up with that?
that's all my brother.
Yeah. Is that like a pissed off moment or something?
No, actually, you know, I look at the Studebaker. It was one of those cars I always thought I wanted to own. And when it came to actually buy the whole car, I had to have it. I got emotionally involved. We paid a good price for it.
Yeah.
Didn't care. I was going to own the car.
Wait, and who owned it before you, or who were?
Stephen Huntley.
Got it. Okay. Gotcha.
And I don't know. It's Frigg is one of Odin's wives.
Right.
And we look at the car as a goddess. We figured give it a goddess's name.
Yeah. See, so it's not just F this fucking thing or whatever.
No.
It's literally.
Yeah.
There's a reason behind it. Man, that's cool. Interesting levels of thought going on here. So, all right. Right on. Good names. What else, Bill? You got any other questions for him?
Well, so one of the other cars that's had a little visibility out there is loosely referred to as the shit box of death. So and I don't know if you guys know the car I'm referring to. It's one that the two guys that run in Top Fuel have run, and they made that into a quote unquote drag week exhibition vehicle. I think that's charitably what it is at this point in time.
Got it.
Yeah, it's the wagon. Is there some similarity between that engine for the folks that are listening in on this to try and get some context? You know, what we're talking about really in terms of this power plant, because you talk about getting the parts off of the fuel teams, and so is this Alan Johnson? Solid heads, all that kind of stuff. In other words, can you give us a little more insight into what the combination looks like?
Well, the wagon car actually is a Noonan design, so it's a wet block and a wet head deal.
Yeah.
I mean, similar.
Outside.
On the outside looking in, yeah, you're right. They look the same, but no, that stuff is Uptonium. I mean, it's badass and it's way out of our price range.
Right.
That's latest today technology, and I think the newest part on Frigg and Goodfar is probably 95 or 96.
Gotcha. Who makes the heads on those cars?
Brad Anderson.
Okay.
And
the
block
BAE
too.
stuff. Got it. Okay. Got it. All right. That makes sense. All right. So interesting. But there's a good fresh supply or a decent supply of that stuff if you need. I mean, I don't know. You guys eating a lot of parts? Those combos eat a lot of parts? It's not too bad.
No. Actually, we
Everything
put a new
behind
set
the
of
logo.
rods in. Yeah. New set of rods in before Ozarks race, and I ran the numbers on the pistons, and they're from 2009.
Wow. How many passes are you getting out of some of that, the rotating assembly?
We'll run the crank until it's junk, which is probably, for us, 300-400 runs.
Gotcha.
We put 75 to 80 runs on a set of rods. Pistons we run until they crack, break, or scuffed up too bad.
Gotcha.
But we're really easy on parts.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not leaning on them too hard.
No.
You're not putting them on the kill tube. Well, that's a neat thing about something that's built to make a lot more power than you need. You can back down a little bit. And
Well, it's a lot of that's RPM related because, that's one of the ways we control the power is where we shift it at,
Gotcha.
because
with the blower motor, linear power increase with RPM. So I get it.
yeah. So a lot of these guys, badass alcohol guys are 10.8, 11.2. I shifted 8,000.
Right.
So it's going to last forever.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
Not going to make any power, but it's going to last for a while.
Well, it makes enough.
Yeah.
Makes enough.
It's
That's all you
controllable.
do. Yeah. Okay.
And if I get in trouble, all I got to do is stretch out the 1-2 gear change, and it really takes off.
What about behind the flywheel, torque converter, transmissions? What have you figured out?
We like the Bruno stuff. That's all we run. Neil Chance. That's all we run. We're pretty tight with Marty, and we spend a lot of time R&D in what we do.
So there's a lot in converter. That's what everyone else tells us that's successful at this.
It's all in the can.
They say you live and die by that converter.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. When I worked for Clover, he was always asked how we did on Clay's car so well, and he would always point and say, "It's in the can."
Yeah.
It's all in the can.
Right.
You
Gotcha.
control the clutch, you control the car.
Do everything.
Same deal.
That's the same thing
Converter.
Beckman said too. Yeah, cool. Okay, interesting. What's the difference between? I mean, take it if that car was a prep track car versus what it's doing with the converter now. What's the behavior? Just, I mean, looser at lower RPMs, or is there anything you can use to describe?
It depends which converter we have in the car.
Okay.
Our street converter would be loose across the board. Our NSX stuff would be loose early and really tight late. On the Pro Mod car, we run a lockup converter. So that's really, really tight later.
Really? Yeah. All of the tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. How are you locking up the converter on the Pro Mod car? Is it an on off switch, or are you doing a PWM phasing it in? Or
no, on the Pro Mod car, it's a nitro car. So we can't it's technically call it a soft lock.
Got it. Okay.
You can't use the soft lock feature. You just have to slam the door.
Gotcha.
The only way, otherwise it'll, just eat itself.
Yep. I've actually done some development work on the similar concept of the soft lock stuff. So
yeah, I mean, it's a neat idea. I think it'll come around eventually.
Yeah.
It's just not for that power
tricky
level.
to get at that power level. It's tricky to get to behave consistently or not eat parts. But, the idea is like when we're doing the turbo Pro Mods with the Pro line, it literally when that thing goes, a quick activation or actuation, literally the car wants to flip over sideways and upsets the chassis at 3/4
It's a
track.
shock.
And all that. Yeah, it's crazy. People don't realize how much inertia you're connecting there all at one point in time. It's harder than the leave.
Yeah.
So cool. That's badass. All right. So what about weight and balance, scaling, chassis setup? What have you learned, or what you can share? We're not here to blow a bunch of secrets out. I don't think
we, through my relationship with Marty, I got to know Todd Tutterill and questioned him, and he explained a few things. And for me, I have to find somebody that speaks the same language that I do and doesn't use big words, and Todd's pretty good about that.
You blower guys.
Yeah, we're not real bright, so we bring our colors everywhere we go just for that reason.
So, all right. So, I guess, and then like chassis setup. Well, where do you spend most of your time experimenting? Before we started the show, I was asking him some questions and I got the same answer. The answer is, shitloads of testing. Well, I guess, so my question is, where do you spend most of your time? Some guys tell me, springs and shocks. Other guys, obviously converter's a big thing, but what do you mess with the most?
All of it.
All of it. Just experiment. Crazy.
Yeah.
Do you keep a big notebook or something like that? Of
Yes.
tests?
If you look in the trailer, it's about that thick and it's green. And I got notes going back to my Camaro when it had a 502-inch single carburetor nitrous motor.
Gotcha. You just keep track of what seems to work and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Klober was always big about, it's better to write down what doesn't work than what does.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a good idea because then you can refer to, hey, we haven't tried this yet.
Yeah.
I get that. That makes good sense.
Yeah. But we try. We've gotten to know Chris Bell pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
He helps us out a ton.
Yeah. Not the first guy we've had on that said the same thing.
Yeah, he's badass.
Trying to get him on here, but he's just not a talker.
Yeah, and he doesn't beat around the bush. He just kind of tells you how it is and deal with it and move on and fix your shit.
Yeah, nice. Gotcha. Okay. Do you do things like bar changes mid-event, big changes like that, or?
We've gotten better now about power management that we don't have to. We do.
Gotcha.
We'll make a 4-link change. We'll make a lot of weight changes. Occasionally a converter change. We'll play with the transmission pressure. We can negate a lot of the problems we're having with those.
Talk about trans pressure and what you use that for. Is that for converter coupling or? Yeah. Gotcha.
Less is less and more is more.
Gotcha. Oh, so you're bleeding it off then.
Well, we don't have the pneumatic controls to bleed it off, but we do have control over the pump pressure.
Yeah. How does that work?
Bruno's got a set screw that you can go in and out.
Yep. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the Pro Mod car has we can control pump pressure and converter pressure independently.
Gotcha. And that's controlled not during the run, but preset.
Preset. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I was going to say, these guys tell you it's big and dumb, but so far It's pretty interesting stuff.
I hear big, I hear no dumb.
I know. But they want to put that out there. They're dumb. Don't worry. They don't know what they're doing.
And my dad texted me and wanted me to say that it was 1990 in Denver, not 88. It was
Gotcha.
1990. Sorry,
1990. Thanks, Dad.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Dad still, except now Dad can text in.
He abandoned me in 1990.
We have a family reunion happening here. We found Dad.
And I know what to tell a therapist.
Yeah, right.
That's completely awesome. That's what dads are for, to remind you and maybe you a little bit from now and again. That's great. We had Justin Shearer on. Scott, you know me. I have a million questions. So
yeah, go for it, Bill.
We had Justin Shearer on here a few weeks ago, and he was talking about translating what he was seeing going on, lane to lane, track to track. He described it as translating what's happening on a given surface at a given event in terms of time. So there is a bump 116 feet out. And what does that translate to in terms of, okay, well, that's a second 3 into the run. So I'm going to pull time to get over the bump, or I'm going to do this because of what I've observed on the surface and do that sort of thing. And the bottom line is the guy's pretty successful with a smaller engine and power combination than most people are running. Are you guys being forced to do that given the rules and the rules changes at no prep in these events?
No, I mean, I think he works on a different level than we do. I mean, he's working with the combination. He's trying to use every bit of power he can. We're on the other end where
we're trying to dumb it down as
we got power for days. So we don't run our suspension that tight. So we can go over a speed bump and it really wouldn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, as dumb as that sounds, it
doesn't. But so you would focus on something like that with chassis tuning?
No.
Just
it could be bumpy.
Just deal with it.
Yeah. Now the Impala is a little more sensitive. I mean, we go place the big bump on that. You're going to feel it, and it's going to upset the car. The Studebaker, we run so loose that it's not. We spend more time worrying about torquing the track or the surface, whatever we're on, and how it torques. Not really the number, but what it does when it does torque. If it pops or if it's spinning.
So you use the little torque meter, the strain gauges?
Yeah.
Guys, okay.
Live and die by it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Because I've been parts of many other Pro Mod teams that tried that and just couldn't make it translate. And I probably didn't know what they were doing.
Well, the first 100 runs, it does nothing for you.
Right. Until
you're just logging information at that point.
Gotcha.
Until you have 100 runs and 100 sets of notes to go back to.
Do you put the test point right where the tires are going to start at? Or is there any, where do you just...
We just leapfrog all the way down track.
Gotcha. And go ahead and plot a map then.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, again, I keep not hearing the dumb, but we are happy to advertise you guys however you want to go.
So
give us a nice.
Grab your money, grab lane.
Give us a Norwegian phrase to say, "Oh, these guys are dumb as stumps," whatever it is. But where's Mark tonight? We need that.
Dahlquist is mowing the yard for the in-laws or some shit.
Oh God, yes. So filming for this season is got to be getting close to wrapping up. How many more events do you have for the No Prep Kings season?
We're not doing the No Prep Kings this year.
Yep.
They don't like the blower. They don't really like the Impala. Or they love the Impala, but they hate the Studebaker.
Love the Impala because it's beatable.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, just leave it at that. Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that. And because I was going to ask a question about moving rules and stuff, but I guess we won't have to. So instead, what does the rest of the season look like for you guys? And what do you see coming in the future?
Yeah. What type of events?
Well, we actually started the year with a single-minded goal, and that was Armageddon.
Yeah,
we didn't really care.
My next question.
We didn't care about anything else. We won Armageddon. We ran really good in testing there, and then somebody put a camera in the car and unplugged the mag.
Oh.
So the car wouldn't fire for first round, and it was heartbreaking. So yeah, we've been on hardcore testing for Armageddon for
Gotcha.
December.
But you guys did good at Bounty Hunters, didn't you?
We won that one.
Yeah. Nice.
I guess that would be called doing good.
Gotcha. Okay. So the competitive nature is there. Yeah, a lot of us are probably going to do a live show from Armageddon. So we'll come and interview you guys hopefully after you take the crown.
Yeah.
So yeah,
hopefully we
We've
do well.
been living and breathing that word since last year. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
So it tells you how many rooms we put on.
Do these no prep events, are they kind of practice for something like Armageddon? What's the prep typically like at Armageddon? I know it moves around. I mean, I've had guys say, oh shit, I could have put down a lot more power, or go the other way around.
We went to the first Armageddon with Brent's car, and we made the mistake that we didn't map the track and we didn't pay attention to what was going on. And by the time we got to run, it was so good, the car wouldn't even do a burnout.
Wow.
Yeah, there's so much power built up.
Yeah.
Had we known, had we done our due diligence and had we paid attention and done our job, that wouldn't have happened.
You guys were way new to the no prep scene back then.
Totally new to it.
Like one of the first races, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a very big lesson that
And it wasn't, then it was
come ready to turn it up.
Yeah. And it was a lesson of, this gets really good, really fast. And the prep that they sell now is just miles above what we used back in the day. When we have two sets of prep in the trailer. We have the stuff we make ourselves if we need wheel speed. If we want to hook and we need to hook, then we use skinnies.
Gotcha. I was just going to ask. All right, cool. Justin stuff. Very nice.
Yeah,
sticky.
Yeah. And hadn't,
like brake stuff, sticky.
Yeah.
It
Gotcha.
doesn't break stuff. Yeah.
Had brake stuff sticky. Nice. Interesting. What about, do you do pulley changes for power increase, stuff like that? Or typically just bring whatever you got?
No, every run. We got one drawer, and the one drawer in the trailer is nothing but blower pulleys.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So if you see the tracks really coming around, then you get somebody on that. And
yeah. We have one. Scooter's our crew guy, and he handles the entire car by himself. We have guys that come. His son Matt will come when he can. We got Buck David that'll come when he can. We got Brad Burks that'll come when he can. But the core is Scooter. And Scooter, man, I put the car together during the week, and I prep the car during the week, and then when we get to the track, I wash my hands of the car.
Gotcha.
And it's all Scooters, and then
Car chief takes over.
Yeah, he takes over, and that's
should have brought Scooter up here.
We tried. He's in Arkansas cutting trees.
Gotcha. Cutting trees. Nice.
I'll have real jobs.
Yeah. We all work so do we. So I can goof off.
Interesting.
Or
Okay.
do you guys care to comment? I mean, how finely can you cut the pulley thing? Is that like a 2% change in overdrive or something that finite? Or
our average is 2.5%, 2.5 to 2.7.
Yeah, so you guys know what you're doing. Does that also mean now somebody's doing spotting and watching lanes, and you kind of have an idea how other people run that are pretty well sorted and do the whole deal? Are there other classes? I mean, because you guys are at the deep end of the pool. Are there other classes you can watch to get a clue as to what you guys are going to do?
We don't really honestly watch any other cars. If anybody knows us and hangs out with us at the racetrack, we never leave the trailer.
Yeah.
We don't go to other trailers to
scope out,
talk or hang out or say good job. We're pretty intent on what we're doing.
Right.
No, we more or less just pay attention to the surface and what it's doing. And then we try to talk to the track personnel what they plan to do. If they're going to drag it, brush it, scrape it, whatever, move the starting line.
Yeah. The track personnel movement seems to catch our eye the most.
Yeah. When we pit, we try to pit on the track so we can watch them pretty close.
Gotcha.
What they're doing.
Okay. I hope everybody's paying attention. That's an interesting approach.
That was a very interesting phrase. Track personnel movement catches our eye. I just think that's a big deal. Having been to an event in March where they ran the machine down the track and they put new tires on this thing, which look like a forklift that they use for brushes, and the new tires proceeded to pull up the surface for 60 feet, and they shut us down. This was just in Tucson, but this stuff happens. It's crazy. So those events are a little bit bigger deal, but that makes a great deal of sense.
All right. Got any other questions out there for these guys? Let's take a look here.
I'm not online, so I can't see anything right now. Sorry, guys.
Does the sauce really work that well? I have been tempted to try it. Jake Hildebrand.
Yes, it does. We've tested it all.
Nice.
Everybody I know
So
that's
you're gonna have to
tried
test
it is pretty damn happy.
Yep. I've heard the same. We're big Skinnies fans here. He doesn't think so, but we are.
You know what, Scott? It might be worth dialing back for a second because this is a little bit inside baseball for people who just read about pimp juice, last week because they watched something on Street Outlaws. Can we, just describe what is Skinnies, where does it come from, who's got it, and why do people like it?
Traction compound for people who
It's a
don't
guy named Justin Price
I
out of
get
Kansas
that part,
City.
But yeah, let's walk it through.
It's a guy named Justin Price out of Kansas City. He mixes his own blend of traction compound basically and sells it in a bottle, packaged. You need it to go. If you need it to go down the track, he can get it to you. Simple as that.
We'll get Justin on here sometime in the next couple
Yep.
weeks.
I've known
tried
Justin
to
for a
get
long
out
time.
here.
I'll send him a message.
Very cool.
They even sell it on Amazon.
Yeah, right. It's easy to get.
That was going to
Yeah.
be my next question. Can you get it on Amazon? So thank you.
We usually carry about 10 jugs of it in the trailer. So
Right.
So do you guys
When you
look
work-
at that as the track's gone away a little bit and we've got this set up and that set up in the clutch, and so we're going to put a little under the tires just to make up the difference? Is that how that's applied, or is there a more systematic approach?
Yeah. When do you decide to break out the sauce or the compound?
it depends what the track's doing.
Yeah.
If it's horrible, if we're street racing or if it's on asphalt and it's just going to be horrible no matter what, then absolutely. We don't even think about it. We just get it.
How far out is that good for? 100 feet out, 50 feet out, or just, is whole pass doesn't make a difference? Does it depend?
It'll get us through first gear pretty easy.
Okay. Which I'm guessing is the most critical part, right?
Yeah, to get the car moving
Yep.
is one thing, and then keeping it planted and
Gotcha.
keep accelerating all the way to the finish line.
Do you find problems after you get past where the rubber is at that things get sketchy as far as traction that's available? Or
No,
Shearer was telling us, he's like, oh man, I focus on the first 100, 150 feet because after that, you can't put down much power. You can't really crank into it. I thought that was interesting. I've had different results from other guys.
we do
Yeah, gotcha.
the whole way.
Gotcha. Yeah, do that. You try to put as much down as you can the whole way out.
If you try and beat us to 60 foot, then pussyfoot around the rest of the track, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
We're going to power all the way through.
Right. Well, I noticed that. So typically I could tell like Larson's tune-up was, I'll let these guys get a half car on me or whatever, but I'll run them down in the back and, turbo car stuff. And no, your car was running out the back door like a turbo car would expect to do. So I could tell at the ORP event that I could see that.
It's a pride thing. You hate getting drove around.
Yeah. I could see that.
You beat us, but
Yeah.
you're going to have to earn it.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to do it
Yes,
quick, right? Yeah.
With the Impala, it was fun. We knew we were going to lose at some point. We just accepted it.
Yeah.
Pride got in the way.
Yeah, but people loved that car.
Oh, it's got
4 billion views on 1320.
It's just got a cool following. That's
Oh,
why
yeah.
it'll never be
Right.
dismantled.
Good.
It'll show up here and there.
Good.
But the Studebaker, that's all business.
Gotcha. It's pissing everybody off too. Somebody called it a pro mod at this event. These guys like, no, let me go get the pro mod. Hold on, give me 20 minutes. But yeah, so interesting stuff. Cool. Okay. Somebody's asking, what kind of damage does the sauce do to the tire, or does it make it wear out any more rapidly, or is there any effect on lifespan of the tire?
On a big tire, no. We run a soft tire anyway. So we're getting, we're cycling those things out every 25, 30 runs. So we don't see any higher usage rate.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem
to affect anything.
No, it just makes a mess. It makes it
Gotcha.
hard to clean.
Yeah.
But
We've actually used that stuff on chassis dynos, and we're trying to get cars to hook, and it just makes a little bit of mess on the rollers,
Yeah.
but it works.
oh yeah.
It works way good. Yeah.
Do you
Okay.
guys
put
want
a
to
lot
share
of,
anything about what tire? Oh, go ahead, Scott.
Just put a lot of masking tape on your car if you want to keep it off the fenders and stuff where it's going to build up. That way, at least you got something to peel off, and you're not working on scrubbing off on top of your paint job.
If you're using on the dyno and you've got drywall near it, watch for that too.
Right.
I've got some stories of moving out of some shops. And
Says the voice of experience. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Dave. Interesting. Lots.
Do you guys have tires that particular tires that you like, or do you change tires for an event or a particular track?
Wait, ask that again.
Whatever you want to say. Oh, I was saying, do you have a tire preference? Are there tire limitations in some of these things? I know some of these various events have tire limitations. 1750, 14, 32 1750s or something.
No, there's on a big tire. There's no limitation. You can do anything you want. Reaper's race early in the year, he had a 33-inch tall tire rule, so we tested a lot with 33s just to, a quick gear change and put the 33s on just to make sure we could make that work if we decided to go. And then we've played with 36s, but 34.5 is pretty much our bread and butter.
Interesting. What's your choice of tire manufacturer?
Hoosier.
Got it. Yeah.
Say it looks like Hoosier in all the pictures I pulled from the Facebook page.
Yeah, we spent a lot of money with Hoosier.
No big sponsorships, no big TV sponsorships.
No, nobody gives us anything.
You guys are missing out.
Yeah.
We need to listen up, sponsors. But okay, very cool. All right. Who else? All I'm getting, nobody's asking questions. They're all just sending big hearts about the Impala. 400 hearts on the Impala.
Cult following.
We love the Impala. Not a funner car to drive than the Impala.
No. That was the one that took the random trip to the cornfield out in Kansas too.
Yeah,
that video was watched by millions. Yeah, the wheat field. Yeah. I was at that event. That was exciting.
That was dumb.
It happens.
We made 2 test hits in the rain, and then
Right, that car was fresh too.
Yeah.
First time he hit the gas on dry concrete.
Yeah. Yikes. This takes big balls just to even try that. That's awesome. All right. What else? Anybody else with questions? I'm watching Facebook. Let's take a look at YouTube over here. Okay. So this question, we kind of went there, but let's go back up and get this one. So Brian Godecki says, do they set suspension up or 4-link up differently than, say, a track pass so that it helps stay planted up top? And also, or do they do anything different when shifting or engine power so they don't upset the tire with the no prep? Well, they talked about the shifting and the engine power, shifting at lower RPMs, which also helps them regulate power. But what is a typical, if you did have to take the Studebaker to a track that was prepped, what are the kind of stuff you would be changing 4-link wise?
4-link, we'd probably take a little bite out of it.
Do you speak in terms of instant center and anti-squat and things like that, or do you just...
We don't get caught up with that stuff.
Engineering terminology.
We have our maps of our 4-link and where it works and where it doesn't work. Where it lands as far as an instant center, it doesn't. We don't care because we're more or less worried about. We don't change ride height, so none of that changes. So we just care about 3 hole up, one hole up.
Yep. And what effect that has with the chassis, how much more bite that's going to give you.
And pinion angle has a lot to do with that too.
Okay. Now, talk about pinion angle a little bit. What's the effect there? Does it got to do with the wind up once it's under load or underway, or you don't really?
All right. So, I worked on top fuel cars. I worked on a lot of leaker cars. Leaker cars always park in the shit parking,
right,
with all the pro stock guys,
right.
So I get to hang out with a bunch of pro stock guys.
I love my pro stock guys. Yeah.
And pro stocks. And the Budweiser Clydesdales on a few times too. Right. So anyway, a guy named Kelly Campbell out of Jeff City owns Tech Headers. He was always a big pro stock guy, or still is. And so we would learn a lot of things from him. But Kelly's big thing was, what's the first thing that happens when you let the clutch go on a pro stock car? The very first thing that happens. The drive shaft tries to go straight.
Yeah.
And then it accelerates.
Right.
So if you can take that, move.
There's actually 1/10 of a second in the time that it starts moving before the rest of the chassis starts even seeing it.
Or less. It's even more.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Gotcha. Wow. Okay.
So you can play with that and actually mechanically work the rear end using the drive shaft.
Gotcha. Wow. Okay.
But it takes a lot of...
Well, and I can see how that would affect the initial grab or grip at that point. Yeah. With the rotating. Oh, shit. See, there we go. Gold, money. That was good info.
It takes a lot of testing and a lot of hits to
figure out what your combo
to narrow
was.
it. Yeah, to narrow it down, which actually works because you can go too far either direction very easily.
Right.
You never want to go positive, but you can definitely go too far negative.
Gotcha. I mean, is there any point or thought in once it's loaded up and going, still keeping the alignment right, so you're minimizing power loss with U-joints and things like that, or anything there? Or
Blower car, we don't care.
We don't care. That's awesome.
One of the things I've found.
We tiny pulley on, and this thing's nipping plugs every pass, and we're just out of power. Then we'll start thinking about that stuff.
Gotcha.
But we don't turn the blower up. We don't rev the motor up. And the thing's so fat that we put 5 or 6 races on a set of plugs.
Gotcha. What? Oh, wow. Like a turbo car.
One of the things I found is that
Got it.
one of the things I found is down the track that if you have too much pinion angle in it, you'll upset the chassis because the windup of the drive shaft becomes a fast, slow, fast, slow, fast, slow. If there's too much difference in it, it basically you get a tire speed up, tire slow down, tire speed up, tire slow down, and especially with a slick that's looking for a set amount of a little bit of spin to make it go fast. It's not looking always at a constant plan. It wants that little bit of slip and give. That can really, really upset the chassis because now all of a sudden it slows down and it grabs really hard, and then it speeds up and then it spins really fast, and then it slows down and grabs really hard again. So it can do a lot of weird things. So you got to be careful to not have too much pinion angle when you get down the track. The idea is to have it as close to zero as possible at ride height at wherever you're at down the track.
Cool. All right, so that real quick question. Yeah, so you're getting kind of a maybe response over here, Evans. That's kind of interesting, and I'm okay with that. Everybody's got their opinions and their thoughts on it and their experiences, which is kind of cool because these guys have said some things that are totally different than what some of the other guys have been said. So they all focus on different stuff. It's really cool. What's reading plugs? You guys read spark plugs? And with alcohol, what are you looking at? Are you just looking at the CAD burn?
Yeah. We don't trust EGTs. We don't chase EGTs.
I don't either. No.
They'll lie to you.
I use EGTs to know if a hole went out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And where it went out, where it picked back up.
Yep.
Now, on a alcohol car, what we read is how much CAD is burned on the ground strap. And generally it's none.
Yeah. Because you're fat and safe on this one. Yeah.
But if we're track racing or we're running the Pro Mod car on alcohol, then we're trying to get that cat burn all the way down to the first thread.
Gotcha. Now, do you consider that just air fuel issue, or is that also timing? Which are you both really? Okay. So if I put more timing in it, I mean, I know what that moves. I do combustion pressure testing for some of these guys. And so I know that moves the peak pressure up earlier in the cycle, which the total peak pressure will get higher and hotter. Therefore, so you see that as heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So timing can have the same effect of heat as leaning it out, or is there a difference? Or I mean, can you look at a plug and say, oh, less timing, more fuel, or just one or the other? Is it that
mostly
detailed?
worried about the air fuel mixture at that point because we've already been on the dyno. We spent a lot of time on
engine
Gary
dyno.
Sellen's engine dyno. Yeah. And our max timing is preset before we leave the dyno, and we never exceed it.
Yeah.
So it's our fail
pulling back from there.
Yeah, it's our fail safe. We won't
go past this.
We won't destroy anything if we don't exceed this.
The leaner you go, the hotter it gets up to stoic, and then it starts going the other way again. So you'll get more
these guys are
CAD burn when you go lean, right?
Something to one air fuel ratio. We're even. I mean, do you know what type of air fuel ratio? Do you even watch Lambda on that?
Never. I had no idea.
Don't even mess with it. Yeah. I know it's going to be like high 2s, low 3s at the hit, and then just when you lean it out to make power, it'll.
Yeah, no, we're constantly looking at our plugs for heat.
Gotcha.
On a street pass or a really, really greasy, no prep track, it's the plugs come out and they look like they've been run through the dirt.
Gotcha.
They're covered in fuel and oil and just crap.
Yeah.
If and later in the night and then the surface is getting better, then the next thing is going to happen is the inside of the plug's going to turn white. It's going to clean it, and then it's going to start nipping on the CAD
as you're starting to be able to make more power. Yeah. Gotcha. Starts cleaning up and looking more like a track pass type of plug. Yep. Gotcha. Makes sense. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
And because we made the mistake early with the Pro Mod car was we're paying too much attention to the EGTs. But if you go over center and you're too rich, then the EGTs are going to go through the roof and you're going to be scared shitless and you're going to give it more fuel.
Yeah.
Which is
the wrong
direction.
move.
Yes, then you're gonna burn.
It's interesting. One of the things we learned was that pull and timing making things safer made EGTs go up. And a lot of these guys don't think about how timing affected EGTs. Oh my God, put more fuel in it, No, that's the wrong move. Yeah. And in a lot of the turbo cars I work on, we've learned that the holes to be scared of are the colder holes, because of more timing advance. I mean, I'll tell you this, on some of the turbo pro mod on methanol stuff, we see, I'll do testing to tune timing per cylinder, right, with combustion pressure analysis, and we'll see an 8, 10, 12 degree spread in timing between holes when it's all right.
Well, I mean, that goes with the streetcar thing too. People think overfueled and undertimed is safe.
Yeah, not necessarily. Yep. So that's interesting stuff. I mean, I just was in North Carolina a couple of weeks ago doing some RO8 cup car type motors, and those engines, as well developed as they are, 7 degree spread in timing between holes to get the combustion to happen at the same actual peak pressure at the same crank angle in each hole. That much spread between cylinders. So, but I think in you guys' case, you guys aren't pushing crazy limits, so it's not you don't even got to worry about shit like that. Yeah. But that's interesting stuff. Okay, cool. So I think that answered Brian's question. Man, just so few questions, but a shitload of people just telling us how much they love the Impala. That car brings a load. So I love seeing these boys take Studebaker out the box and whip up on everybody else, but they did damn well with a 4,200-pound Impala, and everyone talked crap. That Impala was nasty to watch leave. Keep taking names. That was cool. Yeah, it's tons and tons of people telling us how much they love it. But if you guys got questions for these guys, hurry up. Otherwise, we're going to let them go here. It's been an hour.
I don't know if people know what questions to ask. I think they're they're stunned by it. They're just like, holy crap.
Or C16, some methanol stuff on our crowd, but not any mechanical guys or whatever. So, Aaron's question?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Ask it.
So guy in here is asking wheelie bar changes as far as heights go. How often do we change that around, or do we just stay the same?
You play with?
We played with it in testing, and then we just found a spot that worked, and we leave it alone.
How did you decide it worked, other than just clean passes, or was there a certain chassis indication or something, or behavior?
If the car's not trying to climb the wheelie bar and climb the back tire off the ground, that's a big one. We've taken some bracing out of the wheelie bar, so it actually, which is probably ass backward, but it works for us.
Yeah.
We plant the wheelie bar and it bends a little bit, and it's not a hard stop.
Not so rigid.
Yeah.
Yep. I get that. Yeah. Not a hard stop. All right. Who else?
Just got to be careful how much you take out, because I've seen people do that to get a little flex and take out too much, and if it pushes too hard, you fold them right in half. So you just got to be careful.
You triggered something. There's got to be a story. Yeah, Tyler, go back and press rewind. We answered all those questions. Let's see, what else? Anybody else?
We actually tested it in Tulsa with Jim Weeds' Pro Mod car, and we were running Scott's Top Fuel car, another 55 Pro Mod car, and Scott's Pro Mod car, and Jim's Pro Mod car. And there was 4 cars and 3 of us to do it. And we forgot to put the wheelie bars on Jim's car.
No, it happens.
So if you're ever in the tower in Tulsa and see the picture of Jim's turbo car standing straight up on its ass,
that's why.
It's in the bathroom, isn't it?
It's going to make a lot of us new junior guys feel good that those mistakes get made at your level too. So
the dumbest part was there's a video of me stepping over the wheelie bar to turn the computer on.
Are you serious?
Yes. It doesn't exist. The wheelie bar's not there.
It's not even there.
So used to doing it, I just did it. Yeah,
it's called being on autopilot.
Yep, man. I caught shit for that.
Do you
for like
guys
2 years.
Does Scooter or anybody have checklists or anything they work with, or is it all mental? Or do you guys work with? I mean, I work with some pro stock teams, and I'm so sick of checklists and note taking. I mean, every pass I got 40 pages. I got an Excel spreadsheet that's screens wide.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys work with checklists and things like that?
We don't work with checklists. We all double check each other. Scooter's rock solid, so I usually don't even.
He is the checklist.
You're not going to find something miss.
Yeah.
How many times I've walked behind him, he wasn't looking, trying to check to see if he checked something. And whoever was sitting in a chair walking, you already checked that 3 times. So.
We got a guy asking about tire compound.
Wait, say that again. You broke up.
We got a guy asking about tire compound.
We talked about the sauce already. Oh, sorry,
No,
tire
what-
compounds, the makeup of the tire itself. Yeah,
What compound tire exactly is it?
Oh, it's the CO2. What is on the car? CO56 or CO26?
It's either not important or so important they're not going to tell us. I'm not sure. Sitting across the table from these guys right now, I'm not sure where I'm getting punked or not.
It's the black compound.
It's black rubber.
One saying I don't know, the other one saying I can't remember.
It's the one you can buy from all the major stores.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Jags will ship them right to your door.
But I mean, what the vibe I'm getting, and there's nothing magical or secret about what you guys do. It's all hard work. And
No, the only thing we really want to talk about is our ratios and our converters.
Yeah.
That's
And
where
fair.
it's all at.
All the magic
Power
is,
management. I mean, if and Mills and Ferris are wheel speed control is your bread and butter and what you live and die by. This is made for you.
Yep.
You're going to kill them.
Yeah, if you understand that.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we had a little bit of that with the 10.5W car. I mean, the car is a piece of crap. It didn't work real good, but
you started to understand.
yeah, you start to understand
wheel speed
what's
management.
happening.
Along the
Yep.
same lines of understanding your wheel speed, what do you guys have on the car for sensors? I mean, obviously, we're going to probably have a drive shaft sensor, maybe shock sensors. What sensors are you guys looking at every pass?
Well,
You run a race pack? What do you use for data logging?
yeah, we run a race pack, and the true story is the race pack did not work until Wichita. What?
Yeah,
The race pack people hate me. 'Cause
Yeah.
I call them and I call them and I call them. They send them in the box and they send it back and I send it back to them. And then they tell me to go buy a new laptop.
Oh, we got to come help you out then.
Yeah,
It's a good excuse to go hang out with these guys. What I can help them with.
so now we have a race pack, but now it's just logging data because we don't know what to do with it.
yeah.
We ran the car for a solid year with nothing but what the
Video camera.
what the grid would tell us.
Gotcha.
That was the only data we had.
Yeah.
That seems to be a common trend.
Yeah. Yeah. The really fast guys and the consistent guys are like, whatever. It does what it does.
Well, that was our fears. Now that we have it, we're gonna
Overthink it.
trick fuck ourselves and
You will. Yeah. That's what'll happen.
Now it's just oh shit, look what it pulled for G's here.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Intuition
look at
is
that.
best. Agreed.
Yeah, that was
It's
good.
nice to have. Yeah. Interesting. Very cool. Okay.
Yeah, one here. What's the car weigh?
The God honest truth is the VIN plate on the car.
They didn't say
Studebaker.
they didn't say which car, but
Okay, well we'll go with the Studebaker. The VIN plate on the Studebaker, the last three of the VIN is 666. The car with
Legit.
me in it and no ballast, which we run a lot of ballast. With no ballast is 2666.
Oh my God.
oh my god,
We never run without ballast for that reason.
Bring a priest. Some holy water on this next trip. Holy crap.
All of that, the iron,
No ballast.
all of that, 666 in the weight, 666 in the wind tag, and it's called the Godfather.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
iron.
no, this is the frig. Talking about the frig.
Oh, the frig.
Yeah, the goddess. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, you
So-
scale the cars for the first time and you know what the VIN number is, just going to look at each other like, what?
Yeah. What the hell just happened?
Yeah. Can we change this and nobody notices?
Right.
Yeah. Go get that. Wait, we're putting it in.
Gotcha. Very cool. Anybody else got questions before I let these guys go? We'll make it an early night tonight. We're going to talk about Bewley's post next week because that's an entire evening worth of chat about the E85 and Lambda targets and things like that. And I don't want to put these guys to sleep because they don't care about any of that. And they don't need that to win. So,
Our Camaro's an E85 car. So
right. Nah, we'll talk about that later. It's also fuel
Blake
injection.
tunes that, so we don't have anything.
Yep.
Blake tunes it and Todd puts ice in it.
Yeah.
Anything, right?
The next question is how fast you want to go.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
Right.
Fast. All right.
Yeah.
Lots of ice.
One car, I think was Goss's car at the Ducks race, was getting 140 pounds of ice per day. We were doing
I
that to
believe
make
that.
like 4
Easily,
passes.
easily.
But
I went to Blake's ice training school. I understand it quite well.
he's
You
a
think it's
master.
cold enough? It's not. Keep
Right.
it up.
Dump it out. Do it again.
Right.
Do it again.
Right.
That's not cold enough.
Right. Very cool. All right. Well, Evans, anybody else, if they don't have questions, we can wrap it up with these guys, man. I'm happy to wrap it
Sounds
up.
good to me.
Not hard to have.
Yep. All right. Well, wind us out, man. I'm going to hang out and
Awesome.
bullshit with these guys for a little bit.
Thank you guys
Thanks
for coming
again,
on.
you guys. Really appreciate it, Jamond and Blake, for having us.
Yep.
Very cool. Hopefully everybody could hear us okay. We kind of did a ad hoc setup on the sound, but I think it's working okay. We'll be in touch. We'll be back next week, and we'll get back to the stuff that maybe doesn't matter so much. So,
Awesome.
all right, guys, everybody have a good night.
Yep. Good night.
Okay, got us muted.
Do you want to learn how to tune electronic fuel injection live in person with the guys from RealTuners? We have 2-day courses in dyno shops all across the country. You can register for these at RealTuners.com and click on RealTuners Live Classes. For more information or to make a reservation, go to RealTuners.com or message us on Facebook at RealTuners LLC. Now, about those classes. When are they, you might ask? June 15th and 16th, a Level 2 advanced course in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at Endless Performance. July 13th and 14th, an advanced standalone tuning class covering various ECUs at Full Throttle Speed in Detroit, Michigan. And of course, we will be trying to schedule more classes and more dates throughout the year, so keep checking back for more info. And remember, don't forget to have your host spayed or neutered.